Unfiltered. Please tell me that's on video. I've never been happier.
I'm made for a fucking podcast. That's dangerous. Listen to me, we're at it.
Welcome to UFC Unfiltered. Apparently Megan Olivi is standing us up. No, I'm kidding. She's having a...
Oh!
Megan's
in that case, then Megan will leave me alone.
I just...
Not Jimmy. Jimmy, no, too soon? Too soon.
No, there's no time where that would have been like...
Jimmy, that was a good one. Want me to say it again and see if it...
I do. I didn't catch it. What exactly?
No. Megan Olivi is great. We love Megan.
Oh, sorry, my camera turned off.
You deal with comedians for 20 years, and then you got this stooge. I'm just a stooge, Jimmy.
Well, that's all right. So am I. So Megan's having her and Joe are having Wi-Fi issues. So we love Megan, so she'll do the best she can to get in. But, we understand this stuff happens. So
listen, man, in the meantime, we got fights to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Listen, Jimmy.
What?
First, I want to start off with some. Can we start off with some fun? Can we?
Sure.
Oh, good. Now look, this is what we're gonna do. I told our favorite ginger, Jake.
Oh, okay.
I told. Well, he's my favorite.
He's not. I prefer Louis. I prefer Bill Burr. I have a lot of. I like Jake very much, but there's a couple of gingers that I have a loyalty to more.
Carol Colombo is kind of a ginger. She's my striking coach at the school.
Sure. Prince Harry. I prefer Prince Harry.
Yeah, Jake. Jake, you're in the top 15. But anyway, the point is, I sent to our good friend Jake the Ginger. I sent him I told him to look this up. Now, I was at a jiu-jitsu tournament over the weekend.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if it's the same one. I think it was the New York Open. I get them confused. But, I had some of my black belts, Zach Fowler, Johnny C, Jedi Johnny B. We had guys competing. Mike Connors has a superhero's name. So we had my guys competing. It's a fun time. I brought my oldest, Angelina, and my wife, right? So, there's always people yelling things on the sidelines. Always. But listen, lately, the ones I've been at, it hasn't been bad.
Right. Are they yelling for the fighters?
Yes.
Things like best your opponent.
Now, yes,
best
Jim.
him.
Now you must listen to this. It definitely looked like it was the one that I was at, but I'm not sure. There was one in Long Island. And I think there was other ones all over the place. Okay. So it was an IBJJF tournament. There's a guy, sometimes the girlfriends try to help. You know what I mean? So Jimmy, I don't think, even the clip says that Natalie didn't deserve this. Why don't we, hey, Jake, roll the clip. Now this guy's training and he's getting advice from his girlfriend. Now let's play this. Listen to this.
He's just gonna hold there.
Shut up, Natalie!
He's just gonna hold there.
Shut up, Natalie!
He's just gonna hold you there. Shut up, Natalie. It really is a great.
Now listen, Natalie, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your relationship, but I don't think that was...
Shut up, Natalie.
Poor Natalie. I mean...
No, Natalie probably nags him all day about stuff. The dishes are just going to sit there.
I think that might have been deeper than him just mad at her for yelling advice.
You know why? Because here's what's going to happen. It was the same as I had happened this weekend. I was working on something on YouTube and I tried to hide the channel just so I could work on it. And then the channel disappeared. Like it deleted, but I didn't delete it. So I was so angry. And she comes in and she goes, like, well, what did you do? And I followed the tutorial. I didn't delete it. And then it's gone. And she goes, well, it's gone. Why did you delete it? Like I meant to, why did you delete it? That's what that's like. And so if I was doing jujitsu and she was telling me something, I would say, shut up. Yeah, I would be so irritated about other things. Shut up, Natalie.
I hope you just chose to de-escalate that, is what I hope.
When that happened, I was livid, Matt. I was livid.
I don't like you when you're an angry bird.
I was so fucking angry. I'm still angry at YouTube for just the channel disappeared.
You know who else was, I think, angry? I don't know. I didn't see the post-fight, if he had a post-fight thing. I heard Dana left in the 5th round or 4th round of the Cory Sandhagen fight versus Rob.
I'm sure it was not an exciting fight at all. And I know that Dominic Cruz was talking to Michael Bisping about it. And look, Dominic is saying basically on this level, you take what a fighter gives you. Your job is to win the fight. I understand all that. And that's the truth. But still, it was there was less significant strikes thrown apparently than in the Rose Carla fight. And look, Rob Font has to get out of that. It's not Cory Sandhagen's responsibility to fight a comfortable fight for Rob Font. And on that level, you're going to have guys like that, because if it's not going to be Sandhagen doing it, it's going to be Aljamain doing it. It's going to be fucking Merab doing it. These guys can all take you down and hold you down. And your job is to get to the cage and get back up. Much easier said than done. So Sandhagen is just doing what he's doing, but he wasn't inflicting a lot of damage either on the floor.
Can I just say, yeah, but now we got to give the guy a fucking break. And now this is the reason. Now this is on his Instagram. And this doesn't look like a guy to fucking bullshit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Fully torn tricep in round 1.
Wow.
Wasn't able to punch or elbow with that arm without pain and it feeling like shit. Did what I had to do with that.
Okay.
Did what I had to do to win that fight that night.
Yeah, okay.
Surgery this week, back soon. Peace, love you.
Even more impressive then, with an injury.
As we say that, I'm loving the post. I'm giving it a heart.
Yep, I would too. That's I didn't know that. I read that right before the fight. But people like Rob Font, I love Rob Font, but you also it's easy just to blame Cory Sandhagen, but the reality is the other guy has to be able to get up. Rob Font has to be able to get up, and he kept trying to get sweeps and he wasn't getting them. So it's, again, easier said than done, but it's not Cory's job to fight a fucking comfortable fight for Rob.
Well, just like you say, Jimmy, it takes 2 to tango.
I've said that many times, Matt, especially while dancing.
Ooh. You had something sour.
Yeah, no, I know. It's a bad one.
Jimmy, lately, when you try your new material, have you ever did some stuff not work out lately or no?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me.
I mean, every time I'm on stage, there's something that doesn't go as well. And I do my Wednesday shows at the Fat Black Pussycat. I have like new jokes I want to try. But I try a lot of new stuff, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It is what it is. I'm okay either way.
Does it give you a little tingle in your belly? A little tingle in your nuts when you're trying something new? A little, ooh, I'm going to try this one today. Ooh, I'm going to do the waiter joke.
No, I love the new jokes. I love doing them. I feel great doing them. And it depends. Like if it doesn't work because the joke sucks, I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll tell the audience that sucked. You're right not to laugh at that. That was a shit joke. Or if it's a good joke and they don't laugh, I'll be like, nah, fuck them. I'm going to do that again. Or maybe I deliver it wrong. It depends on why I feel it didn't work.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's many reasons it might not work.
Now, I've been on your terrace. Terrace?
Terrace, yes, sir.
I've been on your terrace. Is that where you write? Do you write? What do you do? You write?
No, I should do more writing. I usually just work it out on stage. I'll go on stage with some thoughts, and I'll be like, yeah, I want to try this tonight, and I'll just kind of see what direction it goes in. That's how I work on material. I feel more comfortable doing it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy. All right. Listen, I always find that stand-up comedy stuff fascinating.
I'm on Kill Tony tonight, by the way, on the Tony Hinchcliffe show. It's just me. Last time it was me, Bert and Whitney. This time it's just me. So if you're a fan of that show, tune in tonight at 9 on YouTube, I think. 9.
Did you have the line of the night like you did last time when you...
Oh, Dave Lucas. Yeah, I did have a good line.
It was a great line. Something with Lizzo and Halloween or something. I forgot what it was, but it was great.
I think I said you look like... I think I told me you look like Lizzo dressed like Suge Knight for Halloween. I think that was what I said to him.
I believe it was, but it killed. It killed.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks.
And now, were you happy with your appearance?
Yes, very. Sure.
And now, how do I watch that? That
on YouTube.
It is on YouTube.
Kill Tony on YouTube. Yeah, and there was a lot of. It was very fun. It was really a fun show. Yeah.
It's fun. Hey, While I got you,
Sure.
do you want to talk about a couple of fights over the weekend?
Absolutely. Let's talk about Sandhagen Font. Now, I read right before the show today that he was injured. So it really is amazing he pulled that off. And that again, Rob, a guy like Rob, who's such a good fighter and a dynamic striker, but to be a champion, like, you have to be able to beat guys like Sandhagen. You have to be able to navigate that to win a fight. You look at the trouble Pereira had with Jan. Look at the problem Izzy had with Jan. A guy who can grapple, I always give the advantage to, because they're going to get on you at least once. And the ground control time was just insane. It was 8 minutes at one point. I think it was by the second or third round.
Did you say Pereira had with Jan?
Yeah, he had a hard time getting up. He did eventually get up, but I mean, he had a hard time. Jan definitely didn't hold him down like he did Izzy, but he had a harder time getting up than he would have liked, I'm sure.
Where that was, but it was a wacky altitude. I wonder why.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. It was in Colorado.
Fights in these high altitude places, like
what's that?
I wonder why they book these fights in these high. Because usually the fights suffer because
that's right.
What kind of shape they're in, the altitude can really screw.
Unless it's Sandhagen who trains there.
There you go. That is true. You know who I want on the show, who I'm super impressed with?
Suarez.
Yes, you do know. You know exactly.
I started you the second I saw that. It was a great fight. And
now, Jessica Andrade is not an easy girl just to take down and like beat up. But man, her wrestling is like it would just, she just gets a hold of a leg, it's not coming back. It was right. And she chains it together. It was really nice. I thought it was really put together really smoothly.
Yeah.
And she's unbeaten. She was out with an injury for a while, right?
She's 9-0, man, or 10-0? Let me see here.
She's 10-0.
10-0 now, yes.
But I don't know. I'm super impressed with her. Like she's just, and she's looking good standing up. I believe she was outstriking Andrade because people get worried about her ground game.
Sure.
I don't give a shit about the strikes, but now she knows how to strike. Damn. I can't wait to see what's next for her. And she said now, I believe she's at the correct weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Fighting at what 125?
No, 115. 115.
Oh, 115. Okay. I'm really getting blind. Like I literally can't even see the screen.
Nah.
Didn't Andrade go up recently to fight? Am I crazy to think she went up to 125?
I don't think you're crazy. Some say I'm crazy, but it's true. Yeah, Jimmy. So I taught the 7 a.m. today, and then I just got one of those. My buddy John Perez, I was recently at his house, Jimmy, and he had a barbecue. And, I brought my kids over there in the pool. So I'm like, I'll sit on this nice little cozy reclining thing. It was one of those zero gravity chairs. Did I tell you this already?
No.
So, Jimmy, you sit in this thing, it always feels like you sit back like on a spaceship.
See, you didn't like
that
it.
thing. Remember Flash Gordon, that thing that had his eyeball pop out? What was that guy's name again?
Oh, Ted.
You always say the stupidest names. No, it was something cool. But anyway,
Fonz.
Take me when we get to, then he says the planet, and he goes back in his little pod. Like, anyway, it reminds me of that. I forgot his name. All right, that was a horrible analogy. But my point is this. You sit in it, and you just like lean back, lean forward so easy, and something like a recliner. This ain't a great story, Jimmy. Let's get back
I would say this isn't, Matt, I would say that If I was to die tomorrow and St. Peter said, give me the top 3 worst stories you've ever heard, that would be in the
The story was I was sat in this zero gravity. The story doesn't get better. I should stop.
Because it can't get worse. We went to a barbecue, had all the making. We're having fun at the barbecue. What happened? This chair. Oh, you're like my aunt. Oh, so comfy.
You son of a bitch. Jimmy.
Yes.
I sat back in the chair and I fell asleep.
You did fall asleep. All right. Well, that's how long did you sleep for?
Fast forward, long story, pretty long. I can't make it short at this point. My wife got me a couple for the house, one for the school.
Oh.
So I take a nap on those things.
What are they called?
Sorry, listen. You know what? I'm
gonna
gonna send you a picture.
Actually, send me one because I'm so uncomfortable all the time.
Yeah, I send you a picture right now.
Yeah.
And I want you to hold it up to the screen because I want everybody to see it.
Okay.
This is me there might be a pizza box in the background, but this is my wife took this the other day when I went to take a nap there. This is you're gonna like this picture. You're gonna look at me. I hope you don't look at me differently. You know I like the nap, Jimmy. You know I like.
What's that?
No, I know you. Stop being silly. I know you're about to do something sick. Stop it. This is me napping. This is what happens on a slow news day.
All right, it's fine. Tell me when you send it.
Ready?
Yep.
No, stop it, because I know you're gonna do a dick pic or something. Don't be weird.
No, man, I can't. There's people watching. They'll put my dick in the fucking.
This is me in my. Don't I look comfortable? That you can make it bigger. Make it big. That's the zero gravity. Jimmy is showing me a picture of him dressed up in being Chip, I believe.
Hold on, let me see here.
Now look at my picture. Tell me that doesn't look cozy.
Oh God, your shirt. You look like you're going in for surgery. You got no shirt. It does look comfy.
It does look comfy.
But man, I couldn't sleep on my back like that because I have sleep apnea. I would die in that chair.
It's comfortable, Jimmy.
I envy guys who can sleep. Is that where is that? Is it at your school?
It's in my school.
Yeah.
That's your buddy. You like that guy? Is that your buddy?
Yeah.
Jimmy, you gotta act your age a little bit. Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be 50 next year. Do I seem like your average 50-year-old?
No.
No?
No.
Why? Because I'm cool. I'm hip.
No, just I go and say that. No.
I'm very like I got like the spirit of I got the spirit of a young man.
That's not what I was thinking.
What? Jimmy.
Very childish. I was just saying that that's a good thing.
We're trying. You hurt my feelings, right? We got Megan Olivi coming in.
Yeah, well, they're going to try. She's her and Joe are having Wi-Fi issues.
Said it like you're talking down to me, like you're very childish.
That's okay. I am too. I'm very childish. We should also congratulate very impressive Dustin Jacoby over Kennedy and Nzechukwu. I mean, what a great stoppage that was. 122 left in the into the first round. I mean, Kennedy is a very strong guy and a really good fighter, so that was very impressive. Diego Lopez, first round sub over Gavin Tucker, and then Tana Boza got the decision over Alexa Kammer. And the first fight was Bahamondes lost to Ludovic Klein.
Hey,
Very good night of fights, though. A lot of decisions. I think there was only one stoppage, and that was Eddie Osborne.
By the way,
yes.
Colton Harris versus Jeremiah. Let's talk to Megan about it.
Bring Megan in here, yeah, of course.
I want to see what's up with Megan. Podcasts, movies, TV shows.
Do you know I saw Megan?
What?
I saw Megan in Vegas. She was working, so she was doing something when I was there for our interview. And I don't even know if Megan and I have met in person. Like, I know we've talked a lot. I'm not sure. Has she ever been in studio when we were in studio or no?
No.
Oh, I hear you. There you are. So I'm thinking, Megan, have I ever met you in person or is it only on Zoom?
I think only on Zoom, and I feel really bad that I didn't see you, whatever I was doing, and I didn't have the opportunity to come say hello.
No, that was okay. You were in the middle of something, but it's funny. Kevin Holland, I finally met at a fight. This Jamal Hill, so many guys I've talked to multiple times, and then you meet them in person, and it's just bizarre. Oh, so you're only on the phone today? We don't have you on Zoom.
Yeah, this is unbelievable, but I actually sent screenshots to the producer, so no one was thinking I was just making this up. I have no internet today at my house until 2 p.m. for some reason. There's a crazy Las Vegas outage.
No one would accuse you of making that up. Whoever would accuse, what kind of a creep producer would say, I think she's lying about the internet thing?
I know, I felt terrible. I kept updating it, and the time for it to be fixed kept getting longer. But I'm here on the phone, and I'm so glad to be with you guys.
Good.
Were you there this weekend? Were you there on Saturday?
I was not. I was at the Taylor Swift Eras concert at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, but I watched the fights back yesterday. But no, I was in full Taylor Swift mode on Saturday night.
How was she?
She's a Swiftie.
Absolutely unbelievable. And unbelievable. Over 40 songs. She played for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
With no breaks. Maybe 90 seconds to 2 minutes for a couple of costume changes. I mean, the choreography, everything's live. Obviously, she does lots of acoustic stuff. She's playing the piano and the guitar. It was insane. By far the greatest show I've ever seen. And she does a lot of good with her tour as well. So I'm just a huge Swiftie.
She gave away $5 million to her crew. She gave $100,000 to the trucker. She gave a lot of money away. She's very generous. And I'll tell you my favorite Taylor Swift thing online, if you haven't seen it. And I don't know if she did this when you saw her, the acoustic version of Shake It Off.
She didn't so she plays 2 songs every night. They switch that she does acoustic. So for ours, it was Death by a Thousand Cuts and You're on Your Own, Kid. But I've seen the acoustic version of that. I mean, what can't she do, really?
Yeah, she's awesome.
I like the one when she goes, "It's me, I'm the problem. It's me. I'm the problem." I get a word. How does it go? It's me. What?
That's it.
No, that's exactly it.
No, it's me. And then what's the next word? It's me.
No, you're right. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. It's anti-hero.
Me. Hi, that's right, Jimmy. And I love saying it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Megan. Megan, this makes it a lot easier that I can't see you.
Yes, this would be humiliating if Megan was losing.
I'd be so embarrassed.
Now, Megan,
if we could see Megan.
Do you only support Taylor's versions of the songs?
I mean, I try to. Yeah, I do. I have all Taylor's versions of the albums that she's remade. Yes. So
you're just a huge fan. You're not taking kids there. You just love her.
Oh, no. And I have to tell you, Joseph is a bigger Swiftie than I am.
That's funny.
We love her so much. So it was no, we had no kids. There was the 2 of us just living our greatest life ever there.
That's great.
I bet you see a lot of couples and just straight up adults there. She's not exactly like Hannah Montana and shit. She's got good. The song I just sang is a fun song. Jimmy, sing us your favorite verse, Jimmy, of your song. Of
What's that?
You don't got to be a Swiftie to like her music. I know you know a verse.
Because You're Mean. I love Mean. That's a great Taylor Swift song. Do you like Mean?
It's so good.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I guess I'm not much of a Swiftie. I don't even know that one.
No, you're not. But
I'll send it to you after that.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good song about bullying and how much she doesn't like people bullying her and how you survive that. And what did you got a chance to watch it? What did you think of Sandhagen Font? Knowing that Sandhagen was hurt obviously makes a difference. But what does a guy like Font have to do to get through the top 3 or 4 in the division? I mean, because they can all pretty much do that. What Sandhagen did.
I always feel like on any given night at 135, any of those guys can beat any other guys. But Rob Font, obviously they both lost their opponents, so this was sort of a last-minute matchup. And to be tasked with Cory Sandhagen on a couple of weeks' notice is no small feat. I think he's got a great team around him, and he is a real student of the game. So I do think he'll go back to the drawing board and try to figure things out as to where he can really sort of break through and not have those issues with the wrestling dominance and things like that. And sometimes that, entails taking some of your teammates, your coaches, and going elsewhere for a little while just to get in other looks and other expertise. I'm not really sure what he's going to do, but I think the flack, man, it's so hard with our sport because if it's not like this incredible battle for 5 rounds or 3 rounds or, some mind-blowing finish, there's a lot of hate sometimes directed their way. And, Cory's doing what he could to win, and Rob obviously was doing what he thought he could do to win. And, sometimes they're great and sometimes they're not. But both of those guys are historically in incredible fights. Sure. So I think having a one-off here and there, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. And sometimes that's what happens stylistically. It happens because of injuries, and it happens when things are switched up at the very last minute.
Yeah. What do you? Oh, God, Matt. Sorry.
I'm just going to say a lot has to be really said about Cory tearing that tricep. I mean, a lot has to be put on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that could take some. I mean, I didn't tear a tricep, but I tore it's hard on the thing. Look at that. I know what it's like to tear something. It feels like you're just like, you have no arm. Like, I don't know how he felt, but it definitely, I'm sure, affected him. He's got he normally has a nasty ground to pound. He's got those elbows that are just snapping. And so I'm going to say it was a little out of character. And I'm not even hating on him. I think he did what he had to do. It's not his bad. If anything, it's Rob's bad for not getting it back up. And like you said, once in a long while, it doesn't happen. I mean, these guys are usually, both of them. I don't remember either one of them in a boring fight, to be honest with you, besides the other night. You know, it happens. Even with guys like Derek Lewis, once in a while, that shit happens.
Yeah. I think he's actually in surgery today for the repair. And it's one of those things where it's like he didn't want to pull out, he talked about, because he wanted to make sure there was still this main event that people bought tickets for. And, you know, and so he did the best that he could with both showing up and performing. And Matt, like you said, I mean, it's near impossible sometimes with the injuries that these athletes go through, and to be able to not just fight, but fight for 5 rounds and do so in a dominant fashion and still get it done. I mean, so much needs to be said. I think he deserves a lot more credit than criticism there.
Yeah. I mean, and he really, it was an extremely dominant fight. Not exciting, but I mean, you don't see Rob Font get dominated like that. Now, what do you think is the path for Sandhagen? What does he do? Because he's already fought Aljamain, and Aljo beat him it was a very, very dominant win for Aljo. So let's say Sean O'Malley and Aljo fight. Let's say Aljo wins that fight. What is Sandhagen's path to get back to a title shot? Because it's going to be a little harder to sell that fight with him and Aljamain too.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, but he did ask for Merab when he fought in San Antonio. He did his backstage victory interview with me, and he said, I want to be the champion. I have to beat the best in the division. And I think Merab is the best, if not one of the best. So I want to face him next. And then obviously Merab had his own injuries to deal with. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the next booking there at 35.
Jimmy, I'm just going to say, like,
sure.
I think that Cory Sandhagen has done enough to wait and see who wins and gets there. You can't just say that just because Aljo's my guy, just because Aljo took him down to strangle him, that doesn't mean he could do it again. I mean, I believe he can, but my thing is, you could build this up by saying, all right, how many fights has he won since then? How many? I mean, let's count them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jake, the producer, please get to work. I want to know how many fights he's won. And then there was also some questionable decisions. So, super close fights. So I think you could put a highlight reel of Cory Sandhagen going on a fucking onslaught since then. And I think it's deserving, man. He's taking everybody else out.
He's 5-2. I'm sorry, Matt, to interrupt you. He's 5-2 since then. No, I'm not saying that Sandhagen is not a great fighter and that's not a great fight. I'm only saying that matchmakers, when you're looking to put together, like Oliveira and Makhachev, they put together, even though that was a decisive win the first time. Sometimes it's harder for these guys to sell a fight just because it was such a one-sided win. It's that they're going to look at like, well, can we make this a sellable fight right now as is? I think Merab is a smart fight for Sandhagen to take just for that reason.
Man, I like it.
Yeah, I think. Good. Yeah, it could be. 35 is so good. Like any of those matchups in the top 15, like they're all going to be so good. And like I said, I feel like anyone could win on any given day because they're all so talented, and the positions in the rankings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're not that far apart. So I just think no matter what, I will watch whatever fight they put together at Bantamweight. Yeah,
and Jake is saying obviously it may stay if Aljo even stays at 135, depending on the outcome of the O'Malley fight. But I'm just saying, going with the asterisk. Okay, let's say he wins. What does Merab do? Matt, you know him so well. Is he just patient and he says whatever Aljamain wants to do, or has Merab talked about moving to a different weight? Or, because as good as he is, he's got to want to eventually fight for a title, just not against his friend.
Yeah, man. I think Merab is gonna, let Aljo get his victories. When Aljo moves up, he'll do his thing.
Okay.
He's in the meantime, he'll fight everybody else. That's his mentality. You know what I mean?
You just never want, and this is any fighter, you never want. And the best example is Frankie Edgar, Brian Ortega. Like it can, any one of these guys are fighting such good opponents. Any guy can have an off night, and then you inadvertently put yourself 2 or 3 fights back.
How about this, Jimmy? How about this? And I'm not saying it in a mean way or weird. The belt compared to his friendship with Aljo, he wouldn't give a fuck if something went south. How about that?
I understand.
Because he's not going to have the level of success he has without Aljo as a training partner and sparring partner and just teammate. It's just not going to happen. So nobody, it's so funny. How about nobody giving shit to fucking DC and Cain Velasquez back in the day?
I don't even think it's
look at that. Oh, Jake said this exactly when I said it. Jake was saying it too.
But it's not even giving shit. It's literally just saying what's going to happen next. Like, what do you do from here? Like, how do these guys look at it? Because
exactly like I said.
Yeah.
He's a young guy still, 32, Merab, things go as planned. Let's see how this fight goes with O'Malley.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go well. And let's see his move next, Things have a way of working themselves out. In the meantime, things are working out pretty good.
If he beats, and if Aljo wins, honestly, he has beaten Petr Yan, he's beaten Sandhagen, he's beaten Cejudo, and then he will have beaten O'Malley. So he will have pretty much cleaned out the top of the division anyway. So maybe he does want to move up just because there's new fights.
I would like him for Volkanovski. I like his chances in that fight.
Ooh,
I mean, I like that. I like that a lot. Look, who's getting Cejudo down? So if he's getting Cejudo down, I mean, I'm not saying Volkanovski's easy to get down at all.
Right. No.
I mean, first of all, Volkanovski's a damn beast. I don't mean any disrespect. You know how much I like him.
Yeah.
Short, bald, rough. Hey, I like him. But my thing is, Aljo, stylistically, he's very elusive, and the way he's very crafty. He gets one back take. I believe he gets the back. It's with his arms. I'm not saying he's a better. Well, maybe I am a little bit. I'm not sure. But Makhachev is a stud grappler. But Styles make fights. Him on the back with those wiry arms, I believe he'll put anybody to sleep. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah,
that him against Volkanovski would be very interesting. And there's got to be, like, again, when you do so well. I mean, you look at even Izzy had to do it against Jan. Like, sometimes when you do so well against the top guys, John Jones in the light heavyweight division, you start to want these new big fights because there's so many guys 10 pounds away at most division that you're like, why don't I just move up? And there's a lot of great fights for him. Yes.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I just want to just kind of get in here a little bit and tell you one thing, because my ADD kicks in and I'll forget.
Sure.
My good friend and teammate, Sarah Longo team, Dennis Bazooka. He stepped up on literally he had to lose 20 pounds in 3 days. And no, listen, he took the fight. He wanted the fight. We pushed to get him the fight because Sean Woodson, his opponent, fell out, and Dennis stepped up to take the fight. He came up short. And speaking of short, that he's a tall gentleman, that Sean Woodson. Dude, he's like, what is he, 6'2"? And what is he? Let me see. He's 6'2" at 146. He looks like he's all like legs. He's got a wild build, right, Megan?
Yeah.
He's like a praying mantis or some shit.
He's 6'2".
Yeah, he is so tall and long. Yes, and credit to Dennis for stepping in. I know he missed weight by half a pound, but I think he cut something like 30 pounds in 3 days, right?
Yeah, something crazy. And he almost made that weight. But I'll tell you that he had some beautiful takedown. Everything in hindsight's 20/20 and should have done this, should have done that. I'm just saying, anybody, you take away an inch. How about 6'1"? You get some. There's sometimes when you get in on those guys and you're lifting up, they find the floor with their feet are always there. You get height, it doesn't matter. You're lifting him up. His feet are hardly off the floor because he's so tall.
Right.
Bazooka was doing some nice things, but I feel like if you want to grapple, and maybe you'll have success if you get him down, but if you don't get him down, and we had to do a weight cut. Now we're using the most exhausting part of MMA, which is wrestling. And I'll tell you, there's almost nothing worse than a failed takedown. I mean, that's rough. Dude, that's like your energy bars here. It's like bang, bang. It's rough. So I give Bazooka a ton of respect for hanging in there and fighting hard throughout. And he had some moments. He got some through.
Yeah.
But that Sean Woodson was definitely, he was on point. And let's give him credit also because, you know, as a fighter, I've had fights before where I had one fight where I had like 6 people. It went to like, I didn't know who the hell I was fighting for like a week before. So I know what that's like. That's very mentally taxing. So he didn't know who he'd have. He got Bazooka and he definitely answered the call. And, you know, credit to both guys. But what I do like is Bazooka's now in the UFC and we'll get to see him next fight with a full camp.
Yeah. Sure. With a full camp. Yeah.
He can show more of his skills, hopefully, in the next fight. You know?
Megan, is there any fights you want to see too? Because these matchups we're talking about, I love to find out what do you want to see next? Is there anybody? I mean, for me, I've been begging for Justin Connor for 7 years and nobody's listening. Is there anything you really want to? And that BMF belt, by the way, is my best shot at getting that fight because it's a chance for Connor to main event without a belt. I mean, it's a chance for him to fight for a belt that he can legit fight for, as opposed to fighting for you know another Diaz fight or a Poirier 3.
I'm really glad you brought that up because after the Justin Gaethje Dustin Poirier fight, I obviously did an interview with Justin, and Connor had just tweeted, and I brought it up, and you know he seemed kind of annoyed by that, and I get it, but it's you know my job to sort of bring these things up in these interviews, but off camera, you know. I think that there was more interest, and then obviously you saw that build in the past couple of days where he said sign the contract, and I think that would be such an interesting lead up and such an interesting fight. I don't know particularly how much the BMF belt matters to Connor, but I think getting back in there, what will be the motivation? Can you add extras in for a return for Conor McGregor? And I think that particular scenario might be a perfect storm for him to come back. You know, I think I go between, you know, will he come back and is he just permanently retired and just keeping his name in the conversation? And I don't really know which one it is, but I do think that fight, whether they do it at 55 or even 70, because I do think Justin's open for either of them. I really think that might be the catalyst to see the return. And I would love it so much. I think that is such a fun matchup and could be such a great build-up. Like we always see Connor with these press conferences, if he has an opponent who can kind of handle their own on the microphone or who can be funny or, you know, who can play along with what he's saying. And I think Justin won't shy away from saying things that maybe, you know, he wouldn't necessarily say otherwise. So I know he doesn't like Connor, and I think he would find a lot of joy in the paycheck and the ability to potentially beat him up.
Yes, and the idea of, because you know the UFC loves to have a belt on the line for a main event. They just do, and even though it's Connor and he could fight without one, it just feels a little bit more on brand to have some sort of a belt on the line. Even though again, the one he really wants, I'm sure, is you know either lightweight or welterweight. But it wouldn't surprise me if they fought at 170. Yes, Matt.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a great one. And I think that there's a lot of venues that would love to host a fight like that too.
This is what I want to say. I'm going to say something.
Go ahead.
Shame. Shame. Shame on both of you. Megan, I can't yell at you.
Why shame?
Shame on you.
Why?
Shame. Well, I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Our good friend, Michael Chandler,
love
6
him.
weeks of his life, he got mushed in the face. Jimmy, how'd you like me? I got your little bird, I got your face, and I just mush it. And you have to sit there and bite it because you know you're gonna have that red panty night. Excuse me, this is Connor. Not me. You're gonna have that payday. You know that's coming. And then you listen to your good friend Jimmy and Matt and Megan on UFC Unfiltered talking about Justin or Michael Chandler. Give him the payday.
I know. I love Michael. You're right.
He deserves it. What is it, Jimmy? What has he done for you lately? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is.
Can I finish?
Yes, go ahead.
Megan, I'm sorry you have to see this. I had a lot of espresso.
That's all right. I'll respond.
My thing is this. Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje. Who's more exciting? Dude, flip a coin. They're
Right.
both exciting. Everybody's got a short memory. Guess what? Next week, somebody else is knocking someone out. And then they're going to think Connor is going to be on the, oh, shit, all right. Sign up. Just sign it. Dude.
How long, though,
Chandler
Matt?
deserves this.
How long have I been asking? I'm talking as a fan. How long have I been asking Gaethje and McGregor?
I'm not yelling at Megan. I'm yelling at you.
I know, but you know I've been asking for that fight. I've been asking for that fight for literally 6 years. I like that matchup. I don't think Chandler's a great fight for Conor. I think that, not that Gaethje's a good fight for anybody, but I was surprised. I told you when I heard that they were coaching and they might wind up fighting, I was like, that's a tougher fight for Conor, I think. I would just rather, as a fan, see Gaethje Conor, because I've wanted to see that fight for years and never thought there was a shot of it happening.
I feel. Go ahead, Megan. Chime in, please.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I would watch, obviously, either of those matchups. But
Sure.
Justin Gaethje does have a win over Michael Chandler. And I'm just going to say, he got a big paycheck for coaching tough against Conor. Obviously, his team has done very well.
Do you know that for a fact that he got a big paycheck for coaching tough?
I mean, I don't know anything for a fact.
Listen, hold on. I'm looking over a little bit. I don't want to lose it, but I coached fucking tough, Megan. You know what I'm saying?
No, so did Joe. Don't worry.
Hey, Megan, don't get me wrong. I got a Tahoe out of the deal. I love it. I'm not complaining. This guy's not complaining. Guys, make that clear.
Sure.
He was going to fight Conor. That's a major, major payday. And I really feel for the guy because he goes, okay, I got the big win. I got that fight. Oh, you want me to do the show? Let's do the show. But yet I got this. This is at the end of the line. This payday. Oh, the dude put his hands on me, but that's okay because I'm still going to get him. Now I'm not getting it. Dude, the fact that he put his hands on him alone is a reason why that should be a signed deal that they're fighting.
See, you're thinking as a fighter,
Yes.
and you're right. But if let's say you're the UFC, and you say, of course we all love Michael Chandler. He's a huge draw. But what do you think, if you're the UFC, what fight do you think makes more sense financially at the moment? Conor Gaethje for the BMF belt because there's something like that on the line? I think that makes more financial sense.
You know what I think? I think you fulfill your fucking side of the deal. And you said he's fighting. Hey, listen, you do this. You're fighting him. And at the end of the show, you're fighting. And all of a sudden, no. Look at this one. Look at this head turner over here.
I understand.
But we're also speculating that Conor's even going to come back. And 100%. I know I can tell you at the end of the day, the goals of all of these athletes, especially in the top 10 at 155, is the belt. And whether, that depends on waiting for the October result in Abu Dhabi or not. Like, I think it's a nice idea for everyone. Like, oh yeah, I would get a huge payday if I fight him. But I think realistically, number one, their hearts are all with becoming a world champion. But I think realistically, their eyes are probably more set on what's going to happen in October. And do they wait? Do they take more matchups or not? So I think, we can all get mad at each other, but it's still speculating that he'll even make a return. We don't even know if he's still in the pool.
And you're absolutely right, Megan. But Conor is the one guy that even on the way to a belt, most of those guys would make a left turn for that fight with him and then come back to the belt. I just think it's such a big fight financially for most guys that he's the one guy I think people would be willing, unless their next fight was for the belt. But I think most guys are willing to take a chance and fight him, and maybe especially at this point in his career where he has not been that active. But I just, as a fan, that's the fight that I've wanted to see for a long time. And when he beat Poirier, I was like, holy shit, this fight could actually happen. Will it happen? Who knows? He may never come back and fight again. I wouldn't if I had proper 12 money. What the fuck's he doing? He's crazy. He should just retire. That's what I would do.
Listen, guys, first of all, Billy Q, who's got a gas tank right out of him, and Marab, they should go on a jog together for days. Let me tell you something. Billy Q, he weathers whatever you throw at him in that first round. you know you got that second and third round at that same pace, if not even a stronger pace. That third round, he's got that. He's on all cylinders, and that's what happened with him and Damon Jackson. He had to weather some funky positions, and then he came on strong. He's always entertaining, that Billy.
Yes,
he really is.
There's nothing better to me than a guy like if you saw Diaz, the fight with Jake Paul. I love that Nate wanted it to be 10 rounds instead of 8 because he's one of those guys like he did against Leon Edwards. One of those guys that as the fight goes, the cardio is just never going to end. And they know that they're more dangerous in the last round, the last 2 rounds, the last 3 rounds. And that's such a skill to have. That's a gift even as much as it is a skill, the ability to keep that going through the later rounds. Most guys certainly don't have that.
Speaking of, I'm not saying it doesn't have that.
Sure.
But some guys that are very strong and explosive, like Jeremiah Wells, and he's awesome. And you know I love my jiu-jitsu, Jimmy.
Yes, you do.
I was already in the mat 2 hours early. He was throwing out an onslaught of with Colston Harris. And Colston Harris ended up getting, I believe, an anaconda choke on him. Is that right? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, man. That was something else. Because, I mean, he needed to get a finish in that last round. And he wrapped him up from standing. And it's not the first time he's gotten this. So you think that Jeremiah might have been a little bit more, had his guard up a little bit more with it. But what happens is, again, the grappling, the wrestling, that's that explosiveness, that does take a toll. So even if you're just a step or two behind who you were in the first round, that's all you need for somebody to lock you up, So Colston, that was something else. That was a nice comfort behind. Those comfort behind wins, that's really what this sport is. That's when you're really just like, oh, I don't know. I like surprises.
Yeah.
Except for back fists. Sorry.
Oh, always nice. I have a question before I forget too. I'm sure how didn't Font have? Wasn't there one shot where he was trying to put a guillotine on Sandhagen? Was that early in the fight that he had him in one? And I just don't know how close it was. So I wanted to ask you how close you thought it was.
Shit, man, I'd have to see it again to be honest with you. It kind of blends into a lot of takedowns to me.
Do you remember, Megan?
No, I don't actually.
All right, I thought he had a
curveball, Norton.
I just thought of it, and I figured, let me ask my 5th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu person.
You're damn right. Sorry I missed it, but this is what I want to ask. Well, we got Megan on the phone.
Yes,
Megan, what are you and Joe or you? What are we watching? What are we streaming? What are we listening to? Movies, TV shows, talk shows? Go.
Okay, it's a great question. We are catching up. We are very behind the times, but we only have 4 episodes left until we're caught up. But we're watching Yellowstone, and we love it so much.
You do like it.
I love Yellowstone.
Love Yellowstone. Yes.
What season
Every time we're
on?
going to watch an episode, we're like, hey, do you want to watch Rip? Because we love Rip so much. Yellowstone is a tremendous show, and I'm really sad because some of the actors have come to our fights, and I didn't watch the show before, and now I'm like, how did I miss that opportunity to say hello to Rip? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta meet him. Oh, Rip goes to the fights? Rip.
Yeah, he's a fight fan.
This character's a badass. What a cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I don't like? What season are you on?
We're on the last season 5. Okay. I think we only have 4 episodes.
You see when I don't want you to give nothing away, but I'm not, and I like Rip. But you see when he's not being nice to a certain guy that's always been good to him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's upsetting me. It's upsetting me and my wife.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I love Lloyd also.
And there's a guy, I believe Lloyd. It's Lloyd, right?
Yeah, Lloyd. Yeah.
Lloyd. How do you not like Lloyd? Look, I don't know where it's going.
I love him so much.
But I hope something happens where it makes me happy. But don't give that, what's bad? My wife brought up to my mother-in-law, and she's like, oh, did you get to the part when this and that got married? My wife's like, no, stop. She's like, oh, it must, what about? She's like, you're making it worse. Anyway, so no spoilers, but I love that show. And when you have time, Megan, I recommend all the Yellowstones. I watched both.
That's what I've heard.
I watched the one in the way back 1883, and then I watched Which one was before that?
1923.
Yes, I watched them both. So good.
Yes.
They're all good.
And I heard that they're making also a new spinoff. It's going to be like 4 Sixes, the ranch that Jimmy went. Well, I'm just ruining things, but the ranch.
I see that. I know they threw him out there to become a cowboy. Oh,
yeah, and he sure did. Yeah.
You know what's cool? I know it's not cool though. I know they do certain things. I know they do certain stuff with just the Midwestern people that are into like watching. I love the show, but I don't give a shit about the riding the horse. So there's certain parts in these shows that they're like, oh boy, this must be a guest appearance by fucking good old boy, fucking what's his name? So they get some guy, he's doing some lines that and like some act. So he's spit out some lines that he practiced all day, but you're like, okay, that's not the real actor. And then he gets on the horse and he's doing something. It's like, okay. Anyway, I think they do that for
you can tell that they're the horse guys. They're probably really famous in like the equestrian or cowboy rodeo world.
These hillbillies are like, oh shit, man, that's fun. They get all excited. They're spitting out their chew. I don't know. But I can't get enough of those Yellowstone shows, Jimmy.
I've never seen. I saw the pilot. It was okay. I liked it, but I just one of those things that you get away from it and you never get caught up again. And by the way, before I don't want to forget to promote Megan's what she's doing either, because we would be complete asses if we didn't. Isn't Terrence McKinney on? What was it called? Becoming a Fighter. Is Terrence on this episode?
Terrence's episode just dropped today, Monday morning, and Tatiana Suarez's episode was released last week, and the two of them have just incredible stories. It was really a privilege to be able to sit down with both of them. I mean, I'll just tell you briefly, obviously, if you don't know, Tatiana Suarez was basically on her way to the Olympic team for the United States, and she was diagnosed at a very young age with thyroid cancer.
That's right.
And the things that she went through, I mean, number one, she was told she had cancer alone in the doctor's office. She wasn't with anyone. And then she tells the story about how, she got radiation and the choice she made to cover the walls with this special film so that the radiation didn't get through to the rest of the house to anyone else who's there. And while she's locked away in the room, this dark room, she's working out, trying to sweat out the radiation because in her mind, she still had to make weight for upcoming wrestling tournaments. And it's really tremendous to just hear her story of fortitude from, defeating cancer and all these terrible injuries that she's gone through and just really never lost motivation, but also, as we saw on Saturday, hasn't lost a step. I mean, defeating a former champion in Jessica Andrade, and not just beating her, but finishing her. Even like when her shots weren't perfect, she still made something out of it, And so I think that's kind of like who Tatiana is as a person. And so if you haven't heard her story or if you know a little bit about it, I mean, to be able to hear it in her own words and from her own perspective, I cried multiple times during the interview because it's so powerful. And then Terrence McKinney also has like a really harrowing story where he essentially died twice due to a combination of drugs, alcohol, and being chased by police because of his behavior. And, his mom is a part of this podcast, which we haven't done before. And Katara, her name is, and she is just absolutely probably the best fighter in their family. And to hear what her life was like growing up and then how Terrence came into the world and how she has completely shaped, both of their lives, it's a tremendous story. And it has so much more than just the incident that we know about with Terrence McKinney. And so it's a real privilege to be able to sit down with these athletes and let the world hear their stories from their own perspectives and not a retelling of it. I'm just there to try and ask some follow-up questions to make sure that everyone who listens gets to hear the things that they have endured and how they've stayed positive and how, all of that led to them becoming a fighter.
It really is amazing to me. Like when you see a person who handles cancer so well, like, I mean, like, Pee Wee Herman just died of it. Norm Macdonald, Chadwick Boseman, and they never announced that they had it. And I'm amazed by people's strength when they do that. Like, I'm such a pussy. It's literally all you'd hear about if I had it. It's the first thing I'd say. It's the last thing I'd say. These guys that just fight it and just do what they have to do, and someone like her training through it, it really is. It's amazing to me that there are people like that who exist.
Oh, it's a humbling perspective too. You know, you think of things that might be wrong in your life that you complain about, and then you hear someone like Tatiana give her story, because not only was she diagnosed with cancer, but she also had like a pretty horrific neck injury. And so she has both of these things at the same time, where her whole life she thought she was going to wrestle on the Olympic team. Even before they had women's wrestling in the Olympics, it was still a goal. And then all of a sudden, not just one goal, but her then life is also in danger. You know, these things get taken away, and to hear just where her mindset was then, and she continues, I mean, she still goes every few months for these checkups to ensure that things haven't come back.
Yeah.
And that in itself is terrifying, but to be a professional athlete competing at the highest level and doing all these things while always having that in the back of your mind, I mean, for most people that would be impossible, but for her, it's just, she just pushes forward. It's really inspiring.
Megan, do you know how old she was when she started wrestling? Because we had her on here. I forgot. You remember?
I think she was about 4 years old. She wrestled at a really young age. Her brothers wrestled. And again, there wasn't really girls wrestling. And she tells a story about how she kept telling everyone she was going to wrestle in the Olympics. And that was before there was the opportunity for women to wrestle in the Olympics. And she just never considered that it wouldn't be a possibility for her. And I think there's still parts of her and parts of the people around her that talk about that goal still, which I find really intriguing and really interesting. But yeah, she's just always done it. She had a really supportive family. Her mom was like, hey, if this is what you're going to do, you're going to be the best at it. I mean, she even missed her prom and stuff to go to all these different worldwide wrestling tournaments because she was so talented and so dedicated, which, I mean, you're not often seeing with a high school girl.
She looked absolutely, before you came on, we talked about her. She looked absolutely awesome the other night versus Jessica Andrade. And just when she, like you said, to make the most of it, she just has to get a hold of that leg. It reminds me almost like a Habib. Like she just gets a hold. It might look like a failed shot, and then it's just, and that girl's not an easy girl to get down, Andrade. And she's short. It's shorter. I know, as a short grappler, it's easier to get up to your feet. You need to just make a little bit of space. Man, was she impressive down there. She's smashing. And that's great that she got her black belt too. I love her ground game. Her stand-up looked awesome. She was out striking Jessica Andrade. So I don't know, man. I just think it's what? I'm sorry, not to get all over the place. What weight is Erin Branch?
Blanchfield is 125.
Okay. All right. They're at different weights now, because that's a grappler's delight right there. And I also want to add, listening to your podcast, I might get emotional because I'm getting very emotional as I get older. But I guarantee my friend Jimmy will not cry. He has a little black.
That's not true, Megan. I cry twice a week at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I cry.
Megan, he's mean. He's mean to me, Megan. All right.
Well, that's why the Taylor Swift song is his favorite.
Yeah, that's right. It certainly is. Megan, thank you for coming on. I can't believe we went over an hour. We weren't sure if we'd have you for more than 5 minutes. And even with no internet, you came through. So thank you for doing that. And everybody check out, it's called Becoming a Fighter. I don't want to mess up the name of it, but Terrence McKinney. And then check out Tatiana Suarez. It's both really fascinating, interesting fighters. And give Joe our best. We always love having you on.
I will. Thank you guys so much. You're the best. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Megan. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Yeah, she's great. And before we go, Matt, there was one moment. You ever just remember something and you start laughing?
What happened?
And
by the way, I want you to finish that, but dude, your name's not Kimura Daddy. I just noticed that. Yeah, I saw that during it when Megan was on, and she's telling a horrible story about cancer, and I'm starting to smile because you're being you really.
That's been there the whole time. You saw Kimura Daddy.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, we just said Megan. That's not. I want to. I was remembering something funny. I read it somewhere that a guy went to prison, and he said prisoners can be such pricks that there was like a mystery, like a whodunit, and whoever had read the book before him had, every time the person who winds up doing it, every time their name is mentioned, he circled their name. in the book. So it's like a whodunit, but you see the same guy's name getting circled through the whole book. So you just know that he's the guy who does it. Do you understand?
Is that a legit thing?
Yes, I read that some prisoner's book I read, and he said that like some other prisoner did that in the prison library. I was just like,
that's mean though.
What a dick move! It just made me laugh.
So they
circling the guy's name every time
That's
so you know that he did it. There's no mystery. It's ruined.
Jamie, that sounds like something you would do. That's like an evil little trick.
Hey, Wednesday night. Come see me at the Fat Black Pussycat every Wednesday for the rest of the summer. And also, buddy, tonight I'm on Kill Tony. Go to Kill Tony's YouTube. It was a really fun episode. And this Saturday, I'm coming out to Albuquerque to do the Chemo Theater. First time in Albuquerque in years. So come see me.
Jimmy.
Yes, buddy.
Shut up, Natalie. All right.
The best.
That's a great thing. Girlfriends, you want listen, Natalie, come on. You can do better than that guy.
Yeah.
All right, listen to me. Jimmy, I had so much fun today.
Me too.
Oh, by the way, normally this times I do cameos, right? Because I'm on Cameo. Yes. And just personalize like messages and stuff. So I did one where, a lot of times I do them like, hey, listen, you're a jiu-jitsu guy. If you're in town, you bring up this message, you get a free class. Somebody finally brought me they cashed that in. They came in, this other kid from North Carolina. You look on my Instagram, I put him on there. So he came in. And then he's leaving. He's like, oh, by the way, you mentioned the T-shirt too. So that kid got that guy got his cameo worth because he got a T-shirt, a free lesson.
And Dana White's Contender Series returns.
Hold on, wait. You can plug that in a second. I'm telling you stories.
I thought you were done. Sorry, man.
Son of a bitch, Jimmy.
No. He just popped it up. So I thought you were finished, and I was just telling you. I thought you were done.
I'm fucking done.
No, finish. I'm sorry.
All right, no, I'm done. Tell me about Dana White, the Contender Series.
That's all. It premieres tomorrow.
Oh, that's fun. All right, Jimmy, I had a blast.
Me too.
It's almost like I can't wait for Wednesday to come.
I know. It'll be here soon enough.
Jimmy, enjoy the rest of your day, brother.
I'll see you in 47 hours. Bye, buddy.
Goodbye, everyone.